Why, hello there, Nice Teo here. Thank you for tuning in, and I really hope this video finds you well today. In fact, have a really good day. If you're not already having one, maybe this will turn things around. Maybe you can look at this as a marker moment, you know? Like, I don't think it's going to necessarily cause you to have a good day, but who knows? Maybe you can just sort of split the day from here forward, and it'll be great from here. That's what I'm hoping. This is the second part of the unboxing from Amazon that I got on Prime Day. This is the first part, well, one of the knives in the first part, and this is a $16 Sativia knife that, well, check out that video, but this turned out decently. It's not the greatest edge, but everything else is actually not terrible here. So I'm gonna work on the reviews for those. Yeah, it's not the greatest edge, but it does cut. It cuts tape. That's not a high bar to clear. I'm just gonna do it off the camera because there's information on it, but yeah. Touch that up, and I think that'd be pretty good. So, what do we got on the second round and the final round? There's only two parts for this. Check out the first part, it'll be linked down below, and it will be somewhere relatively recently on the channel, surely. We got three knives. This is the Klaken. I'm guessing they're going to play on the Kraken. These are pretty darn budget knives. Pretty darn inexpensive. Like, under $30. I'm not sure what to expect. That's, a belt loop. Okay, fair enough. I don't think these have names. In fact, most of the stuff on the box seems to be letters and Chinese characters. so, no. They do apparently have an Instagram and TikTok, which is interesting. But, let's see. This is, I think, the slightly less expensive one, coming in relatively centered in JG10 and just a black coating. I don't know what kind of coating, don't ask. And a Tonto. Yeah, this also comes in a drop point, I know. The Tonto just, I don't know, it looked cooler, I guess. For me. Let's get this over here so you can actually see the Tonto in relation to the black background. A little pop of color on the surround. I actually like that. I don't mind the orange in relation to the JG10. No play. Decent lock bar access. D2 blade steel. Comfortable in hand. Alright edge, nothing special. Does come down to a decent thinness. Now, the plunge grind, I can tell you immediately, is horrifyingly bad. It ends up here. Wow, that's one of the worst ones I've seen. Now, is that like the biggest deal on a knife that I think I got for, was this under $20 when I bought it? It might not be that when it's not on sale, but it was definitely under $30 at all points. Probably not. Not a terrible clip. Could use some inset screws, considering they inset the clip. It is reversible, which is nice. Whoa, that's a nice strong one. But it's got flex. Overall, it feels actually pretty good. I mean, obviously, you might want to expand that sharpening trail to about here. Considering the plunge grind doesn't end until here, but until then, or if you don't mind, you just get a smile. Well, now, I mean, the smile is one thing, but depending on the stone you're using when you're sharpening these things, like, once it gets this far back from the plunge grind, it's going to get pretty thick, and that's going to, like, you know, change the angle and deflect off the stone a little bit weird. You run the risk of maybe damaging the stone, depending on what you're doing with it or how you're doing it. And if it's, like, hand, you could possibly chip the edge of the stone or something like that. As it gets thicker, it might start doing something to the edge of the stone. It's just something to consider. Especially when it's to such a high degree. However, for the price point, Not bad. Not bad. Let's see if we can say the same thing about the other one. Hopefully we can say better things even about the other one. Not that that's actually bad. Like, that's fine. For a cheap just beater, yeah, that'll work. This one was slightly more expensive, coming in closer to the $30 mark. I also don't think it had quite the same size of a discount. That's the word I'm looking for. This one is a bit off-center, though it does look like it's mostly grind. Again, not flat screws. This one is not reversible, but same basic clip. Well, this one doesn't have as much tension on it, and doesn't have as much flat on the end. Okay. The G10 is... it's kind of got that, like, hazy color on the edges, so it's not necessarily finished beautifully. I'd argue that this is probably a little bit better, though it's hard to tell in the Jade. No play. Decent blade shape. You got a little bit of a clip point, a little trail to it, but not so high that you can't get to it. The plunge grind is, once again, pretty bad, but not quite as bad. It does go past the edge. It looks too... Actually, this one might be kind of on an angle. I think this one's a lot closer to hitting the edge. It's a little hard to tell. See that sort of distortion there? It's pretty close. Probably could be a little bit bigger, but not the end of the world. Not functional jumping. Surprisingly comfortable in the hand. 14C28N, so this one is stainless, unlike the first one. Good flipping action. Good action overall. Yeah, both of these feel like the action with just a little bit of break-in or cleanup, like maybe there's some gunk in there. Well, there probably is, considering there's oil right there. Could probably get to a pretty darn smooth, almost drop shot action, which is kind of nice. This one has a better edge, but it also has a slight burr on it. I could feel that immediately. So knock that off on some strop and you'll probably actually have a better overall experience here. Yeah. This is, I mean, it's not bad. G10 backspacer, steel liners, not too heavy, decent shape, functional, good lock bar access. I can't say it's bad, at least not from these first impressions. Actually, considering where the stop pin lands, that it's taken up just that tiny bit of the edge in general. I mean, that's about where that's a little further. It's pretty close to where the plunge run ends. So, I mean, cutting in that little bit more for more choil is probably not the biggest deal in the world. Okay, so the Klaken, whatever. Pretty good so far. Pretty good so far. Now, the Kaiser. The Kaiser I have higher expectations for. It's also a more expensive knife, so one would expect that, especially out of Kaiser. Now, this is a knife, well, this is the same knife as this. This is a Phoca. Why do I have a second Phoca, you ask? Well, I have a theory. This Damascus that they've done this sort of dark wash on is the same Damascus that they did the dark wash on the Kaiser Allure that I did a review on. You can check that out. And I noticed that on both of those, on both the Allure and this one, which I've been holding off on doing the review for because I wanted to check this one out, were thick behind the edge. Now, they may function, they may cut, but they're definitely thick behind the edge. I've measured it. It's kind of weirdly thick behind the edge. So I had a thought that maybe it's to get this pattern, maybe the grind is done in a way to achieve this that leaves it slightly thicker behind the edge on this steel. So the plain mono steel versions, i.e. this one, might not be as thick. I want to check that and compare. I also want to check out, well, I wanted to check out the micarta that they were using, compare it to some of the older stuff. In fact, I think the Sheepdog, this like 6-year-old sheepdog. Has slightly better finish on the micarta. It's the same micarta, but it's slightly better finished. But I want to check this new secondary Phoca out to see if it is in fact ground the same or if it is not. Now, obviously, this is not telling me any information about whether the allures are different between the Damascus and S45 version, but, well, I figured I'd just stick with the Phoca. It is ground exactly the same. Okay, so just stick behind the edge. This is the crossbar lock variant. I wanted to see how they did well on their crossbar lock, and this feels... Wow, that's 5 holes to adjust. Doesn't feel bad. This feels better. The last crossbar lock, the super budget sheepdog mini, or whatever they call it, 2.9, that I got was a little bit underwhelming on the crossbar lock action, and Kaiser's usually really good at that. Now there's a tiny bit of play in there. But this one feels a bit better. A bit stronger, a little snappier. I mean, it's still a crossbar lock, but it does feel a little bit better. Let's just tighten that pivot down a little bit. And the play is gone, and it still works just fine. Oh, I thought it was a little off-center. It's actually not. Or it just corrected itself. Okay. I like the clip point shape. Let's see what this one is behind the edge real fast. I don't normally do this. Oh, that was my... it shouldn't have dropped. Whatever. Behind the edge on the Phoca here. No. Stop slipping off, please. Thank you. Okay, 19 thousandths. Not as bad as the Allure, which was like quite thick. How about this Phoca? What is the difference between them taken out of approximately the same location? Okay. So there is this difference. And that's a notable difference. $17 to $18 thousandths on this one. Do another one just in case. Yeah, 17 to 18 thousandths on this one. While this one, in that same doggone slippery Damascus that is hard to measure, is 23, which is about the same as the Allure. Interesting. So maybe it is partially the grind they put on the... I mean, it's thicker than maybe it could be. I wouldn't mind seeing this down at like 15 thousandths, but 18 thousandths is not bad. So if this holds true for the Allure as well, it might be this Damascus is actually, because they want this pattern and the way they're grinding it, they leave it a little thicker so as to not get this pattern like too far up by thinning it out or something. I don't know. But there is a notable difference here between these two. Yeah, this one is just... It doesn't get as thick fast. And it's not quite as thick to begin with. So it might have something to do with the pattern they're going for. Which, if that holds true, again, for the Allure, then the S45 VN variants will probably be a lot better than the Damascus variants. Now I may have to check out one of the S45 Allures, just to make that comparison. Gosh, I'm spending more money on comparisons. I've already done the reviews, darn it. Decent edge. Nothing spectacular here, but it's fine. AEBL. The Phoca is got a pretty good handle shape. I kind of find myself not choking up on this thing. It is fine to choke up on, but it's not like the most comfortable choke up ever. But I'd find just gravitating towards the basics position. When I just grip onto this thing, it kind of just does that for me. So this is pretty darn comfortable. Not a reversible clip, which is kind of unfortunate. Both Phoca do not have a reversible clip. That's unfortunate because both of these are pretty ambidextrous locking systems. But, okay. Not my favorite clip in the world. Get rid of some of that, please. Other than that, though, however, Kaiser clips, they work, so I'm not going to complain too much. Slightly better fit and finish on this micarta than I think this one. Only on the edges, even though this is a nicer micarta, and it feels nicer, too. Okay, so I think there may be something to do with the grind, which is why these Damascus ones keep coming up as thicker. So if that's something that you want to pay attention to or notice, and you want slightly thinner, maybe stay away from this Damascus pattern, because they may be grinding it, or yeah, in a way that emphasizes the pattern over performance of cutting. Whereas these monosteel ones seem to not be doing that. So, I'll probably be bringing out a review of these Phocas pretty soon. I mean, I'll play around with this one a little bit, but I've already, like, carried and used this one a little bit. So, I will probably be bringing that out soon. Either way, this video is done. I've held up your time for too long, and I want to make your day better, so let's not hold it up for too long, and let you get on to other things. Thank you very, very much for watching. Consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful and improving day. See ya!